all sweets and bucket seats. Sweet six-cylinder Mustang, power-packed and really stacked. Sweet six-cylinder Mustang, low-gas diet made me try it. Sweet six-cylinder Mustang, you're my kind of car. Yes, you really are.
Motoring 94 is brought to you by Quaker State. Quaker State, one tough motor oil. And Midas, for brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service. Trust your car to Midas.
This week, Motoring 94 has traveled to Southern California. We're in the Santa Ynez Valley, just outside of Santa Barbara. This is cowboy country. We're at a guest ranch, and this is a ranch where guests come to play golf, tennis, and ride horses. And these particular horses are known as Mustangs. And we're here to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Mustang. Not the horse, the car.
Mustang. Mustang is coming. Mustang is coming April 17th. The unexpected, the new Ford Mustang at your Ford dealers.
The Ford Mustang came at a time when baby boomers were entering the car buying market. They wanted a high-performance sports car with a stick shift and bucket seats, and that's what the Mustang offered for a price of $2,500. The New York's World Fair was the site for what would be the most important product launches in automotive history.
Out of the Ford Pavilion, there's a daydream corner called Mustang. This is the car that dreams are made of. Dream your own Mustang. Take your choice of a 6 or 3 V8s. Power steering, power brakes, automatic or standard transmission, dozens of options. But as standard equipment, you get bucket seats, wall-to-wall carpeting, all vinyl upholstery, padded instrument panel, and full wheel covers. Even though Mustang is a dream, its low price is a beautiful reality. Test drive one right now at your Ford dealers in Pleasant Dreams.
The Mustang was a dream come true for Ford. Hoping to sell 100,000 Mustangs the first year, the final figure was 263,000. More than 500,000 sold in 1965 and another 500,000 in 66. The total to date, 6.1 million. 1994 is the Mustang's 30th anniversary, but few changes have been made to the car in almost 15 years. With the arrival of GM's popular Camaro, Ford decided it was time to redesign the Mustang and hopefully revive Mustang fever.
Mustang is a love affair. When the 64 Mustang came out, people had a love affair. And it will be very, very nice to generate, especially in Canada in the cold weather, to generate a lot of traffic in showrooms during the month of December as people come back to fall in love with the Mustang.
Well, a Mustang is a horse that's born in the wild. He's just like any wild animal. He doesn't have any owner. He's born in the wild and mostly in government ground. And he runs wild until someone captures him. And he could be any breed that could went wild. And then his descendants. And then they were just born in the wild, and that's what they are, wild horses. And basically the ones I've had experience with, they're all extra strong. Because they've had to fend for themselves, And by most part, they've wonderful disposition because it's the first time they've ever had in their life that some kind treatment that they have had feed and been cared for. This horse here is, you couldn't ask for a better horse in anybody's breed.
Mustang, to me, has the opportunity to greatly improve the image of the company, to be a traffic builder in the month of December for our dealers when normally traffic is slow, and then carry it all the way through the winter months, to be a sales improvement because it'll, I think, have significant sales improvement over the former model, and then bring in the youth back to Ford and really improve our image. I think that's one of our real pluses with this vehicle.
The new Mustang will come in 2 versions, a V6 powered base model with 145 horsepower and a V8 powered GT with 215 horsepower. Both models are available as a coupe or soft top with manual or automatic transmission. A 240 horsepower Cobra is also planned for the spring of '94.
There's over 400 Mustang clubs in 25 countries. So we talked to club presidents. There's 5 magazines that just cater to Mustang. We've talked to editors. We talked to Mustang owners, non-Mustang owners, Ford owners, non-Ford owners, you name it. What did you want the Mustang to be? What they said, they wanted a lot of heritage in it. They wanted it to be a North American product. They didn't want it to look Japanese. They didn't want it to look European. But they wanted to have the safety and the performance that people expected in the 90s.
The car, with or without badging, had to say Mustang. It was really important to them. They wanted to see some of the retro, if you will, retro cues from the earlier cars. And along that line, things that we found that were really important to them and that we wanted to stay with. They wanted a chrome pony in the front of the car. They wanted the horseback on the car in a prominent position. They wanted a 3-element taillight. They wanted us to take a look at the side of the car and find out whether or not we could put the character back in the side of the car, the chamfer, if you will, the reverse C in the side of the car. So we looked at that. We looked at the cockpit of the car versus some early models, and we wanted kind of a dual cockpit feeling. We wanted a long front and a shorter rear in terms of the perception of the car as you looked at it. And we sort of took those basics, and we think we executed right along the lines they're looking for.
See, 2 things are significant this year. I celebrate my 30th anniversary with Ford Motor Company, and Mustang celebrates its 30th anniversary. I can remember going out for my interview on the plane and reading the front cover of the New York Times magazine. It had a Mustang on it. To me, that was Ford Motor Company at the time, and this will be Ford Motor Company again in 1994.
There's an old saying, they don't make them like they used to. With all of the hype surrounding the release of the '94 Mustang, it looks as though Ford are out to dispel that particular myth. Next week on Test Drive, we'll find out if there's any steak to go along with the sizzle as we put the new Mustang through its paces. In the meantime,
Test Drive with Graham Fletcher.
this week on Test Drive, we look at the 1994 Ford Mustang. Now, this is the 30th anniversary of the car, and as such, Ford are billing this as the rebirth of a legend.
In informal discussions with prospective customers, Ford discovered one thing. The new car must retain its strong North American image, meaning no European or Japanese influence. For me, Ford have succeeded. They've retained both the style and image in keeping with the Mustang nameplate.
The inside of this Mustang has got several big pluses and one major drawback. The pluses, dual airbags, one for each passenger. All of the ergonomics are wonderful, all of the controls right within easy reach, and all of the switches have a nice tactile feel. The drawback? The interior is just so bland and boring, it totally lacks the inspiration that the rest of the car has.
A lot of the styling cues are nothing more than that. The scoops on the side and hood are more for show than function. The side scoops succeed in keeping the tyres cool. Only when you add your own ducting will they become functional and cool the brakes. The hood scoops do lower underhood temperatures marginally, but the difference is hardly worth talking about. The convertible will be produced in-house and comes with a real glass rear screen and an optional hardtop that tips the scales at just 85 pounds. With the hardtop in place, the convertible looks exactly the same as the coupe. This is the 1994 Mustang body. Now, everything that you see that's painted white is a carryover part from last year's vehicle. Everything that's been painted blue has been significantly updated to accommodate the changes in the new car. Now, all of the red stuff is totally new. On the convertible, what they've done to eliminate a lot of the cowl shape they had in last year's model, they've tripled the thickness of the rocker panel when compared to the base car, added this X-brace, and this interesting mass vibration damper. That's the technology. The question is, does it work? The answer is very effectively so, because out on the open road there's very little in the way of cowl shake. Indeed, the only time that it really shows up is when you get onto badly broken pavement. This car's torsional rigidity is so good, it could teach the Supra a lesson or two. The new car features a wider track and longer wheelbase. That and the reworked suspension improve the handling characteristics immensely. Up front you'll find the usual McPherson struts. However, repositioning the front crossmember and adding longer lower control arms has increased the caster by 2.5 degrees. This greatly improves steering feel and directional stability. The rear suspension on the GT gets 4 shock absorbers, 2 in the usual position and 2 mounted horizontally. These 2 are designed to minimize wind-up during hard acceleration. You'll also find tubular sway bars both back and front. Now you not only have a car that handles, but one that is also considerably more comfortable, especially in the convertible version. The base tyres on the GT are a set of 225/55 ZR16s. Take my advice and pay the extra and go for the optional 245/45 ZR 17-inch tyres. These things make the most of the new car's agility as well as being a lot more forgiving at the limit. The powertrain is, for the most part, a carryover from the old car, the exception being the base engine, which is now a 145-horse 3.8-litre V6. The GTs retain the old 5-litre V8. Power is rated at 215 horses and 285 pounds-feet of torque. In the dash to the 100k mark, the Mustang required 5.9 seconds. Matched with the old engine is the old 5-speed manual transmission. This time around, however, they've improved clutch feel and performance to the point where the car is now easy to drive around town. Now that is something you could not say about the old car. Compare that lot to the Camaro, which is something that is inevitable, and the Mustang comes up short in a couple of important areas. The car is 60 horses shy under the hood and 1 cog fewer in the gearbox. I must admit to being very disappointed on both counts, especially when I found out that there is no immediate plan to utilize the wonderful 4-cam 4.6-litre V8 found in the Mark 8. At least that engine would give Ford the lead in the horsepower battle. I did learn, however, that this engine will fit under the hood and it may eventually find its way there. I, for one, sincerely hope so. The upgrades to the brake system are extensive. To start with, you now get disc brakes at all 4 corners, a larger booster and a long overdue anti-lock option, the latter being Bosch's sophisticated ABS2 system. This system actually learns from the first cycle and adjusts for optimum performance. The advantage being that you now get maximum directional stability with the shortest stopping distances on all road surfaces, a huge step forward by any standards. When it comes to cars, Jim Kenzie and I seldom differ. However, I must take issue with his comments he made on last week's Kenzie's Corner regarding the Mustang. He said some pretty derogatory things. As far as I'm concerned, the styling, the power, the suspension are all wonderful. The interior, not too keen on it. However, come January '94, when they introduced the Cobra GT and its 230 horses, this car will give the Camaro a serious run for its money.